What caused the LA fires? It's a fair question, and it's a question that has certainly triggered a lot of speculation, primarily online, from a drone cover-up to energy weapons to a political and economic scheme.
Didn't I tell y'all there will be an accidental explosion? Accidental fire?
Federal agents, y'all, they have released video footage proving that Diddy is responsible for these LA fires.
The massive wildfires in California.
The recent wildfires in Los Angeles have devastated thousands of homes and caused billions in damages, leaving the city in turmoil. But beyond the destruction, a web of mystery has emerged. Music mogul Diddy Combs is facing federal trafficking and racketeering charges, and conspiracy theories suggest the fires may be linked to a sinister cover-up. Properties tied to his controversial gatherings now lie in ashes, fueling speculation about evidence lost in the flames. Is this a tragic coincidence, or could the fires hide something far more sinister? With whispers of FBI involvement, the plot thickens.
Catastrophe in California. A Los Angeles disaster movie roars to life.
Whoa! This was like an 80-mile-an-hour blowtorch.
I came out and I saw a fireball.
Do you know what you're gonna do now?
How do I get to my house?
Tonight, homes in ashes.
Oh, God, it's gone.
I hadn't cried until I got here.
Lives in chaos.
My parents tried to get me out of here, but I couldn't leave.
I can't go, bro. 51 years, man, I've been in this house.
Heroes in action.
You haven't slept.
Not really. You got control on one, and the winds pick up.
The flames are still burning, and questions are burning too.
Why was there no water in the hydrants, Governor? Is it going to be different next time?
It has to be.
What lies ahead?
How do you come back from something like this?
They come back one day at a time.
LA's landscape changed forever. Its strength still stands.
We are resilient. We'll find a way.
We will rebuild, and we will rebuild together.
Los Angeles is no stranger to wildfires, often driven by dry conditions and relentless winds. These natural disasters are usually seen as acts of nature, but recent events have sparked deeper questions about their timing and implications.
Has dominated the headlines more in the first few weeks of January than the devastating fires that have overtaken Los Angeles. It is an absolute tragedy what has unfolded. Let me give you some stats that are current at the time of this recording. So at least 24 people reportedly have died. 12,000 structures have been destroyed. According to ABC, 88,000 residents are under evacuation orders. Curfews are in effect in various areas. According to CNN, the Palisades, Eaton, and Hearst fires have burned about 60 square miles. Think about that. According to JP Morgan, we are looking at estimated insured losses exceeding $20 billion. Total economic losses could reach as high as $50 billion. And in terms of when this will all end, the two major fires, the Palisades and the Eaton fires, they're still not contained. And the winds can make those worse or even start new fires. As Deputy Chief of California Fire Bryce Bennett told CNN over the weekend, we need Mother Nature to give us a break.
The recent wildfires in Los Angeles have left behind widespread destruction, displacing thousands and causing damages estimated at $150 billion.
Someone is setting these fires.
As we're hearing about this catastrophic situation where these insurance companies have dropped fire coverage from thousands of policies in the years leading up to this.
I know they were messing with the water, letting reserves go for one reason or another. They've been doing that a while. Is it on purpose? It's an insane thing to think. But one begins to ponder, do they want the state empty? I don't know.
As the Los Angeles wildfires continue to destroy more and more land, people are starting to question what is going on here. Has the government failed us? Or is this a bigger conspiracy among celebrities? How is Diddy involved and what does Mel Gibson have to say?
The wildfires sweeping through Los Angeles have left a trail of devastation, displacing thousands and causing an estimated $135 to $150 billion in damages. While recovery efforts continue, whispers of ulterior motives have emerged, adding a darker layer to this unfolding tragedy.
To hide evidence, watch for it, ask questions, demand answers. You know who's on those flight logs.
So I did find this article. It reads, on TikTok, the wildfire has been linked to famous rapper Diddy, who was arrested in September for trafficking and racketeering. Following his arrest, many internet users spread wild theories that the famous Hollywood actors, producers, and stars were all involved. Now, as the fires grow, a theory has emerged that the blaze was started and will continue in order to destroy evidence in the Diddy case. You know, I don't know how I feel about this because there are so many innocent people who lost their homes. I don't think Diddy was a part of that. They're talking about destroying the Diddy tunnels, but I mean, essentially the tunnels aren't going to burn if they're below ground, right? I mean, I've seen that the Olympics are going to be here in a couple of years and they have to build a lot of infrastructure for that. So clearing the way could make sense, but at the same time, the areas that were burnt, I don't think align with the map zoning of the Olympics. I don't know. There's so much fake news out here, people.
A shadow of intrigue now surrounds the Los Angeles wildfires as allegations against Shah Diddy Combs take center stage. Speculation swirls that the fires may have destroyed key evidence tied to his legal battles, sparking intense public debate and scrutiny.
With any major tragedy, inevitably there are going to be conspiracies. One of the conspiracies regarding the terrible Los Angeles fires is that P. Diddy somehow orchestrated this in order to burn all incriminating evidence from his parties. What that theory doesn't seem to take into account is that law enforcement already sees the evidence from P. Diddy's house, at least that's what we've been told. Now, of course, there could be evidence in other celebrity houses, which is an interesting point alluded to by Catherine Austin Fitts. She's a former public official who, during George W. Bush's era, was the U.S. Assistant Secretary of Housing and Urban Development for Housing. She said the following, quote, "In situations like the LA fires, I look at patterns. How many of the homeowners were on the P. Diddy list? It's hard to conceive that the original fires weren't triggered from the sky or from the suborbital platform. It was likely induced. Now, the drought was also induced, and poor management was also induced. Was that coordinating? I don't know." End quote. Regardless of the conspiracies, what we know for a fact is that what's happening in Los Angeles is a tragedy. I have some family and friends who had to evacuate Pasadena because of the fires. I hope this gets resolved.
Prosecutors accuse Diddy of using his business empire to orchestrate illicit activities across state lines. His infamous freak-off parties, known for their secrecy and strict no-phone policies, have long attracted attention. With his trial approaching in May, the stakes couldn't be higher.
Paris Hilton's home, they said her home has burned down, but y'all, they are saying that her home has something to do with all this Diddy stuff. Diddy's home is mansion. They said it hasn't burned down. Why hasn't it burned down, you guys? Because the feds already went in there. They already got what they needed. They said Beyonce's mom's home is burnt down. Y'all, they are saying a lot of these moguls' homes has burnt down. Some they're saying because of what's going on with Diddy. Some are saying that they are trying to cover up evidence. And y'all know that there is tunnels under those houses. A lot of those homes have tunnels. They have also, they say, evidence in those tunnels. I was watching a video, Uncle Gene, he was kind of letting it loose on accident, saying that it's due to hiding evidence. But y'all, let's continue. This is getting crazy and sad.
The timing of the Los Angeles fires has ignited conspiracy theories, with claims that they were not entirely accidental. Properties linked to Diddy's gatherings were among those destroyed, and viral speculation suggests the FBI had been investigating these sites prior to the blazes. Could crucial evidence have been lost in the flames?
But there is a long list of celebrities who have attended Diddy events, like Leonardo DiCaprio, Jay-Z, Beyonce, Ashton Kutcher, Paris Hilton, Howard Stern, Russell Brand. But Catherine said that she's seen dreadful things, saying this in a quote, "I've seen dreadful things done in the interest of covering up inappropriate rings, like involving children, like those really nasty schemes. And this is likely to include whenever you do an operation this big, the operation referring to the LA fires, you stack functions. So there's a lot of stacking functions going on, but it wouldn't surprise me if one of those functions is getting stacked here. So I'm assuming that like what she's alluding to is that there could be plenty of things or reasons why, if this fire was started by someone, or, I mean, I believe 95% of wildfires are started by humans, whether on purpose or accident. They're from humans, but Yeah, maybe there are several reasons why they want to do this. I don't think it's just for Diddy. I mean, the government's literally going after him right now. It just depends if they're going to stop at him or continue going after everyone else involved. And I'm talking about the powerful people.
Apparently, Mel Gibson also has his own conspiracy theory about these fires.
Here's another theory I want to talk about, and it involves Mel Gibson. He appeared on Fox News Sunday where he claimed that people were commissioned to start the wildfires. Mel, what do you know that we don't know? I want to hear this for myself.
I know they were messing with the water, letting reserves go for one reason or another. They've been doing that a while. California has a lot of problems that sort of baffle the mind as far as why they do things. And then in the events like this, you sort of look, well, is it on purpose? Which it's an insane thing to think. But one begins to ponder whether or not there is a purpose in mind. What could it be? I don't know. Do they want the state empty? I don't know.
Adding to the mystery, several celebrities associated with Diddy have remained silent about the fires. Stars like Paris Hilton, Usher, and Justin Bieber have avoided addressing both the devastation and the allegations. Even Beyoncé, Jay-Z, and Jennifer Lopez have stayed quiet, fueling rumors that Hollywood elites may be distancing themselves from the controversy.
So what the climate scientists say is that the temperature is getting hotter. That's making things drier. You've got extended heat waves, which draw moisture out of the soil and out of the vegetation. So you've got more dry vegetation. So when a fire starts, there's more fuel to keep that fire going, and it's likely to burn longer and burn a larger area. The National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration did a paper looking at the relationship between temperature increase and wildfires. They found that climate change had caused an almost 200% increase, so almost doubled the area burnt by wildfires since the 1970s. People are saying now $150 billion, the most expensive fire in US history and presumably in world history. So as a climate journalist, you look at this and you say, this is one of those kind of key events in the history of the whole planet's understanding of the potential impacts of climate.
Diddy's events have drawn a long list of high-profile attendees, from Leonardo DiCaprio to Beyoncé. Yet allegations of disturbing activities tied to these gatherings are now emerging. A whistleblower claims to have witnessed shocking behavior, raising questions about how deep this scandal might run.
Wildfires are a year-round threat in the state, but this year it experienced its hottest summer on record. We know climate change is making the kind of hot, dry weather California has experienced in recent months more likely. And scientists say that is increasing the number of what are known as fire weather days. Now, this graph shows the increase in the area burnt by fires in the US since 1983. As you can see, it appears to have been growing steadily over the years. And there's another factor this year. The winter rains that normally reduce the fire risk in California didn't come. In fact, downtown Los Angeles has only received 0.16 inches of rain since October. That is more than 4 inches below average. The California governor, Gavin Newsom, believes the pattern of wildfires is changing.
We were here not too long ago, the Franklin fire. A few weeks prior to that, the Mountain fire. November, December, now January. There's no fire season, it's fire year, it's year round.
And look how the wind has been blowing the fires. These Santa Ana, or devil winds as they're sometimes called, are a normal part of California weather, caused by cool, dry air blowing from the interior of the state to the coast. Climate change doesn't appear to have altered the pattern of the Santa Ana winds, but as our world warms, the dangerous combination of strong winds with very dry vegetation is becoming more likely.
Experts stress that wildfires are chaotic, driven by environmental factors like wind and dry vegetation. Fire scientists dismiss claims of deliberate targeting, noting that most modern evidence is stored digitally, minimizing the impact of physical destruction.
To imagine that someone would start fires in multiple locations around Los Angeles to protect Diddy, first of all, I don't think he's got that many supporters at that level. Second of all, I don't think he has that kind of cachet and sway to make someone do that. And certainly, I don't think anybody on a federal level needed to do anything to bolster their case in any way. It's just, pure and simple hogwash.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about the greatest evidence tampering case in U.S. history then, because then we don't realize everything. There's digital evidence. It's already in the possession of the prosecutor's hands. But I had to say that, which, by the way, leads into just a tangential conspiracy theory, because people said, well, what was burned to the ground? What wasn't burned to the ground?
Despite expert reassurances, anomalies during the fires have fueled public curiosity. Reports of explosions and videos showing untouched properties near destroyed ones have been cited as evidence of foul play. Could advanced technologies or deliberate arson be involved, or are these just wild theories?
It probably feels like the nightmare will never end as people in Southern California face a sixth straight day of deadly wildfires. Crews still at it, with winds expected to intensify again this week. At least 24 people have lost their lives. The Palisades fire still largely uncontained, and it's already the most destructive fire in LA County history. One local official says more than 5,000 homes have been wiped out in the Palisades fire alone. Thousands losing everything in a matter of hours, including one family who lost their daughter's
The upcoming documentary, Diddy, the making of a bad boy, has added fuel to the fire. Some speculate the blazes conveniently obscured controversial elements that may have been highlighted in the film, further blurring the line between fact and fiction.
There's no one on this earth, I think, maybe not on this earth, but there's no one in America I can imagine would say, great idea with 100-mile-an-hour Santa Ana gusts coming up this week, just start a few fires to clear some land. Too many important people lost their homes, and those fires were shifting with the winds, which meant that anybody who was getting involved was at risk of losing their homes too. There was no way to predict pathways that this fire was going to take, which is why it was so hard. It's been so hard to fight and to contain. Anybody who was, in that conspiracy plan would be wiped out too.
While conspiracy theories continue to gain traction online, officials urge caution. They emphasize the importance of focusing on verified information and supporting recovery efforts for the thousands affected by the wildfires.
So the man who's facing federal criminal sex crimes charges, scheduled to go to trial in May, facing numerous sexual assault lawsuits, there are those online who believe that these fires were deliberately set to protect him, apparently because his LA home, which was raided by the feds last year during the investigation, it hasn't been burned to the ground during the fires. As the Daily Mail reports, his home in Homely Hills is close to the Palisades fire path. There are other celebrities who lost their homes. His is okay. We're seeing the fires. The idea was it was destroying evidence. That's what it is, right? It's to destroy evidence in this case. It's a way to protect him. I can't believe I'm saying it, but you're combining one of the biggest crime stories in the past year with now one of the biggest natural disaster stories. I'm not surprised people are making the connection.
Law enforcement is working tirelessly to maintain order amid the chaos. Arrests for curfew violations, drone interference, and possession of weapons and narcotics highlight the challenges authorities face during this crisis.
When fire hydrants ran dry in the Pacific Palisades, it sparked a wave of criticism and even misinformation.
Because Karen Bass didn't fill the reservoirs. So all the fire reservoirs were not, so the fire trucks are there, they couldn't pump water.
They cut the water off.
They don't have water.
Surveys show LA did have water, but amid widespread frustration and a report that a local reservoir in the Palisades was offline and empty due to
Diddy's allegations intersect with the devastation of the Los Angeles fires, creating a dramatic mix of celebrity culture, legal battles, and public intrigue. His secretive gatherings and the high-profile accusations have only amplified speculation.
The disgraced rapper's 17,000 square foot home, closely located to the chaos, has remained unscathed. The lavish house in Homely Hills sits just outside of the Palisades fire's path, but has not been damaged by the disaster. Many celebrities who live in or near the Pacific Palisades area have been forced out of the neighborhoods. Anthony Hopkins, Paris Hilton, and John Goodman are just among the stars whose stunning mansions have been reduced to ash and rubble. As LA continues to battle these fires, Combs sits in his jail cell at Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center as he awaits trial. He faces a slew of charges including trafficking, racketeering, and conspiracy. Some have even made baseless claims that the fires may have been started to cover up Diddy's alleged sex crimes and protect any allies he may have left.
At the center of these controversies is Diddy himself, facing federal sex crime charges and a trial scheduled for May. Theories suggest the fires were intentionally set to protect him by destroying evidence. While officials emphasize there's no proof of foul play, the timing and selective destruction have fueled public speculation. As recovery efforts continue, the question remains: is this a tragic coincidence or something far more calculated?